YouTube. It's been quite a while since I made a video. In fact, it's been about 5 months, and a lot has happened in that time. I've been really busy, and that's why I haven't gotten around to it. First of all, back in, I believe it was February, Stephen Harper, the Prime Minister of Canada, came to Vancouver to announce his new drug strategy to deal with the gang violence that's been happening all across the Lower Mainland here. And of course his proposal was more police, more prisons, more prosecutors, longer jail terms, more money, more of the same failed mistakes that have brought us to this point where we are now. So I helped organize a fantastic rally. Within about 2 days we knew that he was coming, and within 1 day we knew where he was going to be. So my husband Mark Emery, our activist organizer Jacob Hunter, and about 50 other people got together outside the Government of Canada building, and we held a massive rally for hours on end where we held up huge signs saying politicians who support prohibition are supporting organized crime, all sorts of signs, end the gang violence, stop prohibition, all sorts of things we held up and got great visibility, great signs, great publicity, and for hours on end we chanted "Harper go home" and stop the gang violence, end prohibition. It was excellent. There's a lot of video footage of it online. You can find it by Googling Harper protest at cannabisculture.com. So that went over very well, and it was a great start to what's been a couple months of hardcore activism, because soon after that BC had an election, and I was invited by the BC Green Party to run as a candidate. Now, the BC Marijuana Party, of which my husband Mark Emery is the president and leader, decided not to run candidates and to endorse the Green Party candidates in every riding, because the Green Party of BC has adopted the policy of ending drug prohibition. The Green Party understands that gang violence and all of the problems that we've been seeing are associated not with drugs, but with drug prohibition. And so in the election, I got to run in Vancouver-Fraserview. Now, originally, I was put in that riding to run against BC's Attorney General, Wally Opal, but he decided after my announcement that he was going to run in a different riding, which he ultimately lost to BC's first independent candidate and now an independent member of our legislature. But so Wally Opal took off. He was the Liberal Party incumbent, and he was replaced by Cash Heed, an ex-cop who's gone on drug forces, gang task forces. And now Cash Heed actually did a bunch of great work endorsing an end of marijuana prohibition. He realizes that the war on drugs is a failure. He realized that we need a different approach. And he even testified in front of the Canadian Senate on the Special Committee on Illegal Drugs. He testified that we should end drug prohibition, or at least end marijuana prohibition. So during the election, you can imagine we had quite an exciting time and a few interesting debates where I tried to hold him true to that, but seeing as he was running to be a Liberal candidate and now he is the Solicitor General, he was a little hesitant to acknowledge that and continued to press how he had busted so many marijuana grow-ops and how he's been a great police officer and how he's done so much to end this gang violence. And granted, he has done good work, but he's not staying true to what he knows is a fact, that drug prohibition doesn't work. And meanwhile, the NDP candidate, Gabriel Yu, continued to attack Cash Heed for being a drug legalizer, a sympathizer with the marijuana movement and such. And so I was caught in the middle of a very interesting situation, but it worked out very well. I got great publicity, got a couple newspaper articles. My 1-hour debate on CKNW radio was, I think it was excellent, and others tell me so too. I got a lot of great points across, and drug prohibition was very much an issue during the BC election campaign. Now ultimately I didn't get it out to enough doors, and a lot of people in my riding are Chinese and from India, and they already aligned themselves with the NDP or the Liberal candidates. So I got about 800 and something votes, but that wasn't my purpose. I didn't intend to get a lot of votes. I intended to get the message out there, and I had an excellent pamphlet designed that said, "How do we end the gang violence?" on the front. And inside it outlined how ending drug prohibition was the only way to end the gang violence. And we had that pamphlet printed in full color and delivered to every single household in my riding. So that was the biggest expense of my election campaign, but it was well worth it because I got the message to every household in my riding. And again, it was a hotly discussed issue during the election campaign, so I feel good about that. I consider the election campaign a success. And now the Green Party of Canada would like me to run in the same area federally when that election is called. It's probably going to happen in the fall or perhaps winter, so I'm going to be a Green Party candidate in the federal election, and I will continue to press prohibition and ending this drug war, and how our liberal and conservative government, opposition and government, have pressed forward Bill C-15, a terribly unjust, insane piece of legislation that mandates mandatory minimums for drug crimes. So growing 5 plants or more up to 200 can get you 6 months automatically in prison, and that goes up if you're close to a school or if you have children. And it's all very backwards. It's the type of law that's being repealed in America. In New York, for example, their mandatory minimum, the Rockefeller drug laws are being repealed. So we have an interesting situation going on politically, but there is also a lot happening in our personal lives and in regards to my husband Mark Emery and the extradition fight. Now, the last you've heard was that we had an extradition hearing booked, but that didn't go through. It was adjourned because Greg Williams and Michelle Rainey, the co-accused, were able to start negotiating a plea deal, and they go down in July for sentencing, and they will be getting 2 years probation in Canada. So no jail time. That's exactly what we wanted. Nobody should be going to jail at all for drugs, but none of these three, the BC three, should be going to jail either. So now that Michelle and Greg are off the hook, we could say, I'm very happy for them, and I think that's great. Greg is going to continue to work very hard with me here at the building, because the scenario is that Mark is going to get some federal jail time. We're going to be working on a plea deal, and a lot of people are upset about this. They say you shouldn't give up the fight, you should keep fighting extradition, and don't let the Americans get you. But the fact is, in Canada, extradition is simply a rubber stamp process. If a crime has been committed, you get sent to where they're requesting you. And Mark is being sought on 3 counts, and they're all conspiracy. You've got conspiracy to manufacture marijuana, conspiracy to traffic marijuana, and conspiracy to launder money. Now, each of those carries a mandatory minimum of 10 years, minimum. That could be up to 25 years, it could be up to 50 or even more, because the DEA will claim that Mark helped produce, manufacture millions and millions of pounds of pot out of all the seeds he sold over the last decade. So he wouldn't be receiving a light sentence if he got sent down there on being extradited. And on top of that, money laundering would include a fine for perhaps $1 million or more, which he would have to pay before getting transferred. Now, that means if we tried to fight this extradition, if we went with an extradition hearing, we might be able to delay it out another year or so, but the ultimate end would be that he would be sent to America for the rest of his life, and we would never see him again. Of course, I hope you understand that that is a very frightening thing and very heartbreaking. So we decided that he would try and negotiate a deal following Greg and Michelle. Since they got 2 years probation, we hope that he'll be able to get maybe 2 years in jail. And you know, it's pretty sad when you're hoping for 2 years in jail, but it could be worse. It could be up to 10, it could be anywhere. But the idea now that we're starting to move into this negotiation is that we will be asking for no time to a maximum of 5 years, and the prosecutor, Todd Greenberg, will probably ask for 5 to 8, maybe even 10 years. We don't know. The alternative is we could just agree to a straight cut 5 years, and there would be no discussion, no argument, and he would just start a 5-year sentence. But we believe that the Judge Ricardo Martinez, he may be lenient, he may be influenced to give Mark a lesser sentence once he understands that this is about seeds. There was never any marijuana grown or shipped or trafficked by Mark, and that it was all for a good purpose, and that Mark never harmed anyone, and that there are no victims. The only people complaining are the DEA, whose mandate is to stop legalization from ever happening. So we're going to hopefully move forward with that, and that means over the next few months, we're preparing for Mark to, at the end of summer, perhaps start a prison sentence. Now, we don't know how long it'll be for, and we don't know when that will start, but Mark and I are going to be going across Canada on a tour, a farewell tour, to 40 cities or more cities, as many places as people want us to come to. I encourage you to go to Pot TV or YouTube/Pot TV and watch the latest 2 videos from Mark and myself. We first covered this scenario of the plea deal in the first video, and our most recent video covers his farewell tour. So if you'd like to help out or get involved with that, please do. I'll be asking all of you for more support in the form of letters. If you want to start doing something right now, start writing a letter about how Mark has influenced you, how he has inspired you, how he's helped you. Mark started compassion clubs, he funded legal arguments, he did so much for the movement and so many people over the last 10 years. And we need all of those people to now step up and show their gratitude and help get him at least a short sentence. And then after that, I'm going to need your help to get him transferred to Canada, because he's a non-violent first-time offender in Canada, and that means he could get out of jail sooner. So please stay tuned. CannabisCulture.com is going to have regular updates about this. I'm going to be making more videos. NoExtradition.net is still up and running, and we're still accepting petitions because, as you know from watching previous videos, we had 30 pounds of petitions about a year ago, and now on my desk upstairs I've got a pile this big from the last couple months, and we need more and more of that, because when we deliver that to the judge, or we present that and show how many people are opposed to Mark serving any time in jail or being punished in any way, hopefully that will influence the judge. So that's my latest update. I'm sorry it's been so long. I promise you it won't be long like that again. If we go across Canada, when we do, I'll be doing regular videos so you can follow us along the way. Go to CannabisCulture.com, NoExtradition.net, Pot TV, and get involved, because overall this isn't just about saving Mark. This is about ending the drug war. Peace and pot.